Okay. Hey, what's up? What's going on? It's me, Eli from Superstar Zine. I'm here with Theo from GRIZOL. We're going to do a quick little interview. It's going to be awesome sauce. Thank you for checking in. All right, first question. What is your name and what do you do?
My name's Theo Hilton. The thing that I do is I play in a band called GRIZOL, and I write songs and sing in that band. And I live in New Orleans, and that's it. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. First, real question. What does art making mean to you?
What does art making mean to me? I should ask these questions ahead of time. Art making. So I think that for me, making art is a really collaborative process, and I think that even if somebody's even if what the practice of making art looks like is spending a lot of time alone and writing some words or painting something, there's a lot of work that's required to put it out into the world and share it and transmit it. And I think that all of the aspects of that are places that people are engaged in some kind of world making or some kind of making of an idea or a way of feeling or a way of being that is I don't know, somehow outside or offers something different from what is available in the day-to-day. And I think I said that with the caveat that we make art with every action that we take, and I think that art means making new meaning and new identification possible.
Okay, rocks. That rocks. Okay, how has DIY, just as a general concept, how has that impacted your life?
I mean, it's impacted my life profoundly. I would say, even starting when I was very young. I'm 42 now, and I started playing in bands when I was 15, and there was this coffee shop where I worked, and my friend Robert worked, and we had a band called Taking Robots to the Prom, and we were what is it called? Improvisational hardcore band.
That's tough.
And I wore a pizza costume when I played the drums. Okay. And we made a different t-shirt design for every show.
Okay, that's badass.
And yeah, it was really, really silly. And we opened for all these really sort of serious this band Page 99 that was feel, all these bands that at the time were super and I really appreciated that scene because I felt really it really felt like we could just make whatever, and it also didn't take that much work, but also it was a place to kind of explore being with my friends we can make art and we can make it for our friends and make things that people can know about and experience, and all it takes for us to do that is just us. We printed shirts ourselves. Even now, today, in my life of making music, we just connected with some people and made some new friends who printed shirts for our band.
That's so awesome.
And that's a process of making. And we were talking about art, how all aspects of art, distributing it, sharing it, are parts of the process. And for DIY, to me, I feel by definition, it just means having more participation in the process of just imagining and sharing something, and I think having access to that community and that way of doing that as a young person has really shaped my way of thinking about what art is for and how we can do it and who gets to make it.
How would you define America?
I guess there's a scholar of his name was Patrick Wolf. He died some years ago, but he articulated this idea that I think a lot of indigenous people have sort of had and shared, and many people in sort of movements to critique the project of the United States have shared. But I really like the way that he put it, where he says settler colonialism is a structure and not an event. And by that, like, I mean that, like, and I don't know how this stuff is taught, like, in school these days. I think I have a pretty good idea, but, like, when I was growing up, when we talked about, like, you know, like, settlers in the beginning of the United States, right? Like, there's this idea of, like, settler colonialism happened. Like, and the colonists came, and, like, it was problematic, but, like, it happened,
but,
and
like,
it's done.
Now we're fine, yeah.
Right.
No, it's still
But it's like, that narrative, like, omits the fact that, like, one, like, indigenous people are here, and, like, indigenous culture, like, exists and is present, like, in the Americas, and also that, like, all of the institutions that we live with today, like, whether that's schools or churches or, like, corporations or property rights, like, these are all, like, frameworks for relating to each other and to the environment that, like, are a part of settler colonialism and that are a part of its continued existence. And I think that, like, America, we're talking about the United States of America, is sort of like the blueprint, paradigmatic, like, example of that project. And, like, I think it also continues to, like, those structures continue to, like, facilitate new kinds of, like, I feel like I don't want to, I feel like this, it sounds cheesy to say, like, new kinds of, like, ways of, like, super rich, like, people to make more money, like, while, like, exploiting, like, other people in the environment. And we can talk about, like, how that relates to ideas of race and how that relates to all these different kinds of ideas. But I think, for me, the United States of America is just, like, the ultimate settler colonial structure and container.
What is your biggest hope? What do you hope for?
My hope is for all people and all beings to be free.
Truth. Okay. How has expressing yourself through music and lyricism affected the way that you interact with the world around you?
I think it's sort of in an indirect way, like, given me a greater sense of, like, connection to other people and, like, confidence in my like sense of what people are going through, which isn't to say that I, like, have an accurate sense of that. And I think in some ways that confidence comes from, like, a knowledge of some of the things that I don't know. But I think, like very fortunately for me, in a way that I don't, like, take for granted, I appreciate, like, I think we've made music that's really resonated for people and, like, helped people, like, have a language for their feelings who have shared that with me. It's just, like, so sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And I think
lyricism is super inspiring to me. Like, I grew up listening to GRIZOL.
Oh,
and,
sweet.
like, it's just, like, I've wanted to write because of it.
Oh,
like,
that's awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, and, like, so, like, it's because of our music that, like, I have, like, people say things to me like that, which I feel like sound like, oh shit, like, you know. And, like, I don't think that it's, like, because, like, I wrote a song that people have these experiences, but I think that, like, you know, that, like, the things that I have written and that our band has made, like, resonates with experiences that people are having. Like, I feel really good about that, and I feel really lucky that that's, like, a beginning of, like, conversations that I can have.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, sweet. When people interact with your work or see you live, what do you want them to take away from the experience?
I mean, I guess my hope is that people, like, feel somehow, like, a sense of, like, affirmation and feel, like, a sense of, like, that whatever they're going through is shared, and, like, less of a sense of isolation, I guess. And I think also, like, to feel, like, a greater sense of, like, their ability to change, like, their conditions and to change, like, the world.
And anything else that you would like to share with the world?
I feel really fortunate to, like, you know, I've been playing in bands and going on tour for more than 2 decades now, and I feel like it's something that I've sort of drifted in and out of over time, and I feel, like, really lucky to, like, be able to do, like, to, like, take a step back and come back into it as it goes. And, like, something I've been thinking about a lot and trying to figure out, like, the best way to articulate, it's, like, you know, as I become, like, a little bit older, is I think, like, sometimes I do feel, like, really deep regret about, like, relationships that I've left behind or, like, not tended to, or, like, you know, threads of my life, whether that's music or, like, you know, family and friends and loved ones, like. And I think that, like, increasingly I feel, like, just less stressed about it, and I feel more like I'm like, we just are just drifting through the world, you know. And, like, I think there's a lot of things that, like, could be, and a lot of things that are, and I think things that can't be, and things that aren't, and, like, all of those things exist. And like, I don't really know that there's, like, a message that I'm coming to there, except I think that, like, I put a lot of pressure on myself for, like, about, like, what I could have done differently, and I think I'm starting to learn to not do that. And I think as I think about, like, what is the message that I want to share with people through art, is, like, you know, truly, like, be gentler with yourself, but, like, not in a way that's, like, that's like letting go of like the world, but like we can like be in the world and be with each other and like not hate ourselves, and that's like a real thing, you know.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. You've been great.
No, thank you.
It's been awesome talking to you.
Yeah, likewise.